Thank you. I have a question for Team Red.
Yes.
Yes.
In terms of your target market, who was it exactly? Because I think I'm still a little bit concerned about...
Okay, so sorry, Georgia. So basically, because Capitec is basically for everyone young at heart. That is the target market that the retail bank caters for. People that are hardworking and they actually want to save more money. People that when they actually spend more, because black people literally spend more money and then they lack in terms of how they can go about saving money. Because what you find, especially during the month of November till April, especially November during the festive season, us black people, we cannot be able to save money, so we overspend. So what we were actually trying to do...
So is that your target market?
Yes.
Okay, all right, not a problem, thank you. I'm happy with that. The other thing is, I didn't see a budget in your... Why was that?
Well, due to the cutoff of time, the next slide was the budget, where we would explain to you how much percentage of the budget we're using in the different platforms, as well as the 2.5% we decided to save as a contingency, because we do have a midterm and long-term goal. We need to review the strategy, go back and relocate the money where needed.
Okay.
I have some questions for you.
Okay.
Sure. First and foremost, this was a task that deals with strategy more than anything else. And in strategy, defining your target audience and the behavioral patterns of that target audience is critical. It informs how the strategy is going to be structured, the framework of the strategy and how it will be rolled out. You guys had a masterclass, and that masterclass afforded you the opportunity to learn everything you needed to learn. I felt from you that there was a lot of regurgitation of terminology, but there was not a cohesive strategy, which started with, to Sylvester's question, who are you targeting? My biggest question was, who are we talking to? The second thing I wanted to understand from you was, what was the strategy exactly? Because from the point that the target market wasn't 100% defined, I was not able to follow the rest of your strategy in terms of, is it cohesive and talking to the right people? And I'm still not understanding. So if you could give me in 30 seconds, just exactly target market, actual strategy, so that I have an understanding, because I'm still not sure what you were trying to present. 30 seconds, guys.
Okay, so I think with our actual target market, it is current Capitec clients, and we looked at behaviors more. And I think with the presentation, we might have probably not have showcased it that way. And the actual strategy is actually inclining people to use the digital app more, to download the app and to actually make that switch to digital banking, as it can make their life simpler and easier.
Cool.
Should have said it that way. Now I understand.
I still think it doesn't answer though.
Well, I think we can discuss that
can discuss,
later.
yeah.
Can I also say, overall, lots of good thinking. Lots of good thinking. I think there's an understanding now the job is about to become real, isn't it? Because we are now trying to get people to understand our brand, to get to switch to our brand, and to get to assist them to make better choices and live better. And that's coming across. And I just want to commend everybody for the work that's been put in to ensure that that is coming across. So thank you very much. We'll have a conversation, obviously, individually with each of the groups. But let's not forget the job at hand.
I also do have an overall comment, and I was a bit concerned, just in terms of the demographic you speak to overall. Again, I'm speaking from the customer perspective. I know, for example, my mother, who's a middle-aged lady who's done well for herself, but I know she is not keen to do anything in terms of digital banking, you know, online banking, anything online, anything to do with the phone, computer. She'd rather go to the bank. And this is a qualified lawyer, but because she's stuck to her traditional ways of doing banking, she's mostly scared of the fact that there's fraud. And none of you guys have given me the feeling of, no, you can be comfortable enough and safe enough, you know, to be on this banking app, you know. Think about Tumam and Makai, you know, the mom who lives in rural, wherever, Eastern Cape. Would she be comfortable? So you've come with the strat, which is amazing, but where's the comfort element? That, no, you'll be fine, you'll be safe, it's okay for you to use this app, you know? That's all.
Although it was quite good to hear the whole concept of behavioral change.
Absolutely.
I think maybe if we had to spend a bit more time on this, it would be, but how are we going to really get them to change that behavior? Because we kind of know that we want to change them to do that, whether it's sort of click, buy and save, as an example. But what's going to make, mommy to do that or auntie to do that? Interesting.
And that's it. Okay.
Cool. Team White, I must say, I think that there was a story, and I do love that, that there was a clarity of what you wanted to do. And more over and above that, how you were going to do that. And every single element was very considered. And I really bought that story. It made sense to me. I mean, it started off shaky, but the nerves will always come. But I definitely thought that there was a lovely story.
Agreed.
Team White, well done. I followed your story from the beginning to the end. But again, even though you split your target audience into two groups based on psychographic behavior, I think that it's very wide because of, to Nandi's point, considering the current landscape in South Africa. So a note to you is that whilst you had a very firm framework and a very clear way that you were going to do things, there were some elements that you didn't consider that are pertinent in a digital society.
Yes, ma'am.
Team Blue, I thought that there was a solid plan. It kind of works in terms of what you're trying to do. I would have just pushed it a little bit further, in terms of the strategy part of it. Because I think that you had a very strong, let's call it psychographic understanding of what we're trying to do. But how is it that it's going to be able to answer to the objectives that you've put out? And we know that from the short, medium to long term, it seemed like it was quite ambitious. But how we were going to get there, for me, was something that you could have worked on a little bit more.
Team Blue, I appreciate that you tried to convince us of your strategy. You brought with you collateral. A tip from my point is that it was very distracting because I wasn't sure if I was to be listening to you, reading what was in the collateral or watching what you were presenting. As a result, I felt that there was a disconnect and you lost me. All right, so that's the first distraction. The second thing is, I appreciate that you had a budget, right? But I didn't see how you were going to control and evaluate the use of that budget in order to perhaps reinvest at a later stage if you were making mistakes along the way or if what you intended to do didn't work out as well as you would have hoped. So kudos on having a budget, but it's not a wise idea to spend all your money up front and not have anything left in the pot in order to adjust your strategy if you need to. And in a digital world where everything is always on and things change on a daily basis, you need to have that little bit of budget left behind to mitigate against some risks. True. Okay?
With
Big
that,
gap.
Absolutely. And with that said, I have a feeling, I think I know it was, because we're starting to understand the contestants, right? On an individual level. But I did enjoy the tagline, click, pay, save.
That was quite nice.
Very
and I also
effective.
think that from each and every one of you, there is something that I could steal a little bit of this and of
Absolutely,
that
we
to kind
can
of make
benchmark
something
from.
more, much. So it's going to be an interesting deliberation. Thank you very much. We will call you back.
Thank you.
Thank you.